You've mentioned that understanding someone requires knowing where they come from. So I want to start with little Bethany. And you've widely talked about your upbringing. You said you grew up in chaos. You cited alcohol abuse, eating disorders, violent fights. Your quote was, I was raised in a cave by animals. And so when you look back, do you still feel mostly the pain of that? Or are you able to be empowered by the resilience of it?
I never felt the pain of it. I didn't know it was
Interesting.
wrong. You know what I mean? I never felt the pain of it. It was just survival. It was just what it was. It was just the racetrack and gambling and being at nightclubs and things like that. You don't realize that it's not normal until you look back. I was watching Sons of Anarchy, and you have little kid babies with prostitutes and drugs and people with guns around, but like the kids don't know that that's wrong because it's
Right.
just it's just what's around, just women and scantily clad clothing. They might sense something's off, but that is their normal. So yeah, I didn't know. I now know that I'm a survivor because I was raised around a bunch of very tough people in a very tough environment, and I'm not a big
Mhm.
complainer. And I've had people around me who have together families and parents and grandparents that are in their 90s, and maybe they're divorced or
Mhm.
something is slightly non-traditional, say to me that they have a hard time during the holidays. And I'll internally roll my eyes and I'll be like, yeah, I'm an orphan. And there was a time when I was a kid when I do remember like doing a Christmas dinner or something fun and feeling the feeling that it felt good and that version of normal.
Mhm.
So, I don't have that for my daughter. I don't have that big family. I don't have that dynamic. So I'm just a place of yes person that creates positivity in other ways. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm always a positive person, but it's just like if it's a divorce, we do a fake Christmas. It's not on the 25th if your kid's not going to be with you. If it's you don't have a big family. Every year Bryn and I go to Radio City to see the Rockettes, and this year we're adding
Right.
Tavern on the Green, and we have all these different rituals. We go to the Hamptons, and we go to this ornament store, and we each pick out an ornament for each other, and like we're big on traditions and rituals and things like that. Ice skating, pumpkin picking. So we have our own version of what these things mean, and we definitely stick to them. So we have our own traditions, even though we're small little unit.
So when I interview people, I do like a really deep dive and then I try to like figure out what makes them tick. And I had so much fun deep diving into your businesses and your philanthropy. And one of the things that struck me was I read a book from Margaret Bisnow, who interviewed 60 entrepreneurs. And she said that basically the through line that all of them had in common was they had one person, and it was typically their mother, that believed in them. And you just had this wild self belief. You didn't, from what I understand, you didn't really have anyone looking at you and saying, you can do anything you want to do. I believe in you. I think that self belief is like something that everyone is trying to harness. I want to understand where that came from.
That's so true. I have that and I see people gravitate towards it, and not until this
Mm-hmm.
age do I realize that people that are wealthy, that are good looking, that have like everything, but the one that successful, I see people gravitating towards that, and it's almost like they want to take my light. It's not intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like they are lacking something, and I've now realized people are want to be around me and are almost addicted to it because they want it. They want to be near it. They want some part of it. It makes them feel, but then I don't think about how I feel. And what's weird is I am a little bit of a fixer, or I am attracted to people that are super needy and want that, but that's not necessarily good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the self-belief and where it comes from, I mean, Gaga said it best. I think I was born that way. I mean, I do think as a very young child, my mother was extremely competitive with me and jealous of me and would say, like, I want your life, or I gave up everything because of you. I did things I didn't want to do for you.
Wow.
All that stuff that she said, like, I was married man I didn't want to because of you. I got abused because of you. But all that stuff, I still think fundamentally she did love me and she did think that I had something special, but it was very, very fleeting glimpses. So I don't know if that could count, but I think it maybe mattered to me. A lot of kids who are abused, they like cling on to like the very little thing. I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell. I think I was an only child, and I just think it was my inside me. I just think I was born with it. I think I just thought I had it from a kid. I wanted to, I used to look in the phone books and wanted to be like an actress and take
Hmm.
me somewhere to be something, but no one would take me anywhere. My mother, I don't even know if it was true. She told me she had been she told me when I was older, like maybe 7 or 8, that I'd been offered a Disney contract when I was a kid, but she turned it down. It was torture. It was like torment. Her telling me that was
Yeah.
torture because it was like, wait, why didn't you know? And I just always thought I was supposed to be something. So like her not taking that meant that like she took my chance away, and her never taking me into the city, me begging her to like take me to some appointment or some like modeling, acting, anything. I was like, just like no one's giving me the opportunity to do anything. So it's crazy. Like my daughter, she gets offers for contracts for things because, yes, it's ultimately because of me. I mean, she's beautiful and she's sweet. And everyone says, despite this life that she has this essence and this sweetness, and she's great. But I'm
Right.
saying, like, the opportunities are because of me, and good. Go get it. Who cares? So it's shocking to me, like, that I was begging for scraps. So I've always been begging for scraps. So I just, that's just what it's always been.
Uh, I have so many things I want to reply to what you said. First of all, I saw you at the Woman of Worth gala in LA last month, and I saw that thing in person. Actually, I was like a voyeur of people sort of wanting that light. And I don't, there was a lot of people that were famous there. It's not the fame. There is this je ne sais quoi that I think people glob onto.
That's
Um,
interesting because I was not in a good place that night. I had something going on personally. So I was like a little off.
hmm.
So I wasn't that social. It's very funny. I wasn't like alive, but that's interesting. But yes,
I saw
it,
people come up to your table. I saw how people reacted after you got off stage.
that's nice. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I thought recently for the first time, there was a girl. I don't know her name, and she didn't want to take a picture, which is very unusual. And she was at a restaurant called Mila, and she came up twice because she didn't get to say everything she wanted to say. But the last thing she said to me the first time, she said, "You are very, very loved." I mean, I'm gonna cry. She said, "You are loved. You are very loved." And it was like no one's ever said that to me, like a fan for sure. No,
Mm,
I mean maybe like some motivational speaker said it to like people, but no one's ever said that to me, and it was wild because in that moment, it was last week. It was Art Basel weekend. It was at this restaurant. I was at the bar, and I was like, interesting. Like that's got to be what this is all about, like being loved by strangers. I mean, a lot of people do that. But
right.
and I'm extremely insular. I have very few friends. I don't and I'm just like I'm honestly dispassionate. I care about the people I care about, and like I care about also strangers and like do relief work, but like in the middle, it's like I'm not, that touchy-feely about people that I'm not like that good friends with. It's like you're in or you're
Hmm.
out. I'm super like that. So anyway, that hit me, her saying that.
Why
And
did
so
it,
yeah, I'm
why
loved
did
by
it hit you?
um because it made me realize like someone would gravitate towards this life who didn't receive the love they're supposed to receive as a child. And
Mm,
sometimes when my daughter doesn't want it or doesn't want the camera or the thing, I'm always like shocked because it's
yeah.
like, wait, as a kid I was so desperate for something, but
Right.
it's because I wasn't getting anything, and she's getting so much. She's beloved by me, by all. She just has a good community around her, so it's just like it makes sense.
So I always feel like at 25, I kind of woke up. And I'm still having these like mini wake ups all the time. But that was the age that I really sort of awakened. And I remember being on a call, this guy that I was dating, maybe I was like 28, and he was negotiating a multi-million dollar contract. And it was the first time I'd ever been a fly on the wall hearing any of that. And I thought, oh my God, that is so much money. I could never, like, I could never. And then as I started just listening more, I was like, I definitely could do that. This isn't even that much money. Like just being around it and hearing it helped
Mm-hmm.
me realize I could.
Mm-hmm.
What was your wake up moment
um
when you
I,
realized that the
yeah, no,
possibility of it?
I don't. It had the most defining moment in my business life was being on the cover of Forbes magazine.
Why?
Because it was insane. Like, it was crazy. It was like, what? Like, nothing made it seem real before that. Like, the fastest growing liquor brand in history didn't make it seem real. Being a breakout star on the show, in my brain, having this whole chessboard that I sort of thought was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I'd have a spinoff. I knew I'd have this. I knew they'd come to me, want me to do a talk show. Like, I knew my book would be success. Like, all that stuff. I mean, I can't say I knew the first book, but like, I don't know, just things just like glide through. I never really have a plan. That stopped me dead in my tracks. Like, what the fuck? And I was like at the very end of it, like at the 99th. I think Khloe Kardashian and I were at the very bottom of it, like by the skin of our teeth. But I didn't feel Emperor Has No Clothes because it meant a lot because I was the first one to monetize reality TV, to turn a brand, even
Right.
before the Kardashians. Like, they followed my model because they had the same agent. And so Kim did Midori after me, and they
Oh,
integrated
wow.
Sears into the show after me and all that. And obviously, there's so many of them, and they're much more wealthy, successful, powerful, and they're insanely, beautiful and whatever. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying, like, I was the first one, and I had like I wasn't just being rich on TV, and I wasn't just like getting facials and diamonds. I was like, I had something, I was going somewhere. And so that, like, that showed that the entertainment industry had changed. Actresses used to be pissed off at people like Kim Kardashian or myself
Mm-hmm.
or other people because why were we taking airtime? Now, actresses are dinosaurs in most cases. It's like it's the upside down, and
Yep.
actresses do reality shows. So it just was a moment in time that said, this is the new normal. And now there are many new normals, and I've been part of them too. And it's not even intentional. It's never intentional. It's just like I happen to wander into these rooms. But I wasn't like planning anything. I wasn't planning any liquor brand. I wasn't planning anything. I just made a drink. I just keep going. So that was like, but that showed me that unintentionally, like the Mr. Magoo that I can be, I was like not only in the right room, I was like, I was the room. I
Mm-hmm.
created the room because everybody was asking for liquor deals. No celebrity would hold alcohol. There were three people, Ciroc, Sammy Hagar, and Dan Aykroyd. It wasn't like a big thing. Like George Clooney and Ryan Reynolds and all these people, they came after me because their representatives were like, we want a deal for these guys. Like, look what she did. That was the Hollywood Reporter. That was Forbes. Everyone can deny it. It doesn't matter what they say. Everyone in the liquor
Right.
industry knows what happened. That's what happened. It made it mainstream.
Was
So
Forbes a legitimacy thing also? Because I think like the public wants to trivialize reality stars, even Kim Kardashian, right?
no, it was a street cred thing. And so was turning the brand. But I had this plan. I have a tag on me. I decided to I didn't want to do the deal. I was emotional about it. It was my brand, it was my baby. I had never made $1
Mm-hmm.
on it. And I didn't even understand what those numbers meant. It was like just weird. And but I sold it because I wanted to sold only the cocktails, not the rest of the brand,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted the control of the intellectual property on my own. I learned that I didn't even know what the word intellectual property meant when they came to buy the brand. I learned quick. So I wanted to own the intellectual property so I had the power and the control to do it in other categories. And I wanted the street cred. I just
Mm-hmm.
knew instinctively that if I sold this and turned something, that then all the other categories would have so much street cred and people would want to do business. And then Forbes put the stamp on it and really gave the
Right.
street cred, like it's pure, and it's so long ago. And it's just a thing. It's just why is Hermes different than the artist formerly known's channel? It just is. It's just
Yep.
called Forbes magazine. It's the cover, period, the end. It's in songs. So I did it. I got there by the skin of my teeth, and they can never take it away.
I think one of the reasons you're so good on reality TV is you know how to play to your audience and I think read the room better than almost anyone I've seen on television. How much of your TikTok is reading the virtual room and how much of it is you?
I happen to be really good at reality TV, like you said. Like, I was
Mm-hmm.
born for that. I didn't know that was even a genre, that was even a thing. I didn't know what I was going into. I didn't know The Apprentice was different than The Housewives. Like, I didn't know reality TV has so many different flavors and varieties.
You
Um,
also make it not cringe. I don't know how.
because I won't do because I literally don't watch reality TV, but I watch people on social media talk about reality TV. So they're talking about what's going on in the Real Housewives of New York, which has literally 300,000 viewers. When I left this first time,
Mm-hmm.
we had over 3 million viewers, and it went down to 1.6, and I came back and it went back to 3. And
Wow.
then during the like Heather Carroll, Kristen era, that was when it went down to like 1.6, and I came back, it came up on my show.
Hmm.
That show is, just from what people are saying and from the clips, insufferable, because the people are just, they think the audience is stupid. Like
Mm.
that this is like a manufactured production, you know? So I don't know. I don't have the capability to lie. I don't. I was in a miserable marriage, and why did I have to share that with the audience? I could have just coasted through like everybody else does for years on reality TV and that spinoff. Why? Because there's like a fraudulence that I feel in any type of like someone
Hmm.
thinking I have this life that's great and it's not actually. Also because it could help people. And
Yeah.
it's vile to watch all these housewives on all of them, Beverly
Hmm.
Hills, Salt. I don't watch Salt. Like I just know, like, again, the clips and what I see, everybody pretends they have the greatest life and the greatest marriage and they're so rich. Then you see somebody killing themselves with a suitcase. Somebody's got fake bags. Somebody's got a fake life. Somebody's marriage is falling apart. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, but
Hmm.
everyone's fronting and stunting. And that the Beverly Hills show can hold that because they have the real estate porn and the backdrop of wealth, which is like a great character. New York didn't have that because you had small apartments.
Right.
So they're the same price as the houses in Beverly Hills, but it's just the real estate's more expensive per square foot. And I would never like do that to that audience. I made that decision very early. It's just like, this is what it is. Like, we're being honest, we're doing it or we're not. And that's how I do everything. So I remember producers. I remember the male and female producer telling me I was going to get on my bed and I was going to, when I was getting married, and I was going to have the big dress splaying out, or however, just like Carrie Bradshaw. And I literally said, and I said this for years after, and say it now, how about we do real? I'm not fucking laying out on a bed in a studio apartment with a big giant. What are you talking about? That's not real. It turns me off. It makes my skin crawl. And that's what that show is. That's what they do.
Got
That's what
it.
happened during the Heather Kristen Carroll era when I was at Dorinda's walking downstairs and being like, why is everyone in glam? We're in a fucking house up in the Berkshires.
Oh,
Drink. What are we doing? Like, because I came back after 3 seasons, and I used to like badger and Andy, like, why is everybody in glam? Why is Kristen wearing two different shoes? Why is every day people paying more attention to what they look like than just like be who they are?
yeah.
And had to kind of get into it. Otherwise, you look like a train wreck. Otherwise, you were Denise Richards trying to be real, walking out on the balcony with people in ball gowns in a closed scene. They're not going anywhere. So that's when it all jumped the shark and became, not real. And everyone's like got
Oh,
47 diamond bobby pins and weird hairstyles looking like spaceships. And Lisa Rinna becomes Erica Jane. I'm like, what's going on? She used to wear sheath dresses with the same haircut every scene. Now she's like, but everyone's allowed to change and evolve and be in a costume. They're on television. Do what you want. It doesn't always work. It worked for the Lisa Rinnas and the Ericas in the costumes because that's
right.
Beverly Hills. It doesn't work for New York. It's just a gritty city that it didn't work. So I don't do any of that shit. And it was a long answer because it drives me nuts to a question about, is that
Hmm.
me on TikTok? It's the same thing. It is. People are like, why don't you get back on TV? I'm like, I am on TV. This is it. You're watching the show. This is just a
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
This
No,
is
you're
just a
producing
scene.
yourself. I mean, for you to like talk about fake designer purses, I don't think I've ever seen anybody, and like everybody does it, except for you're the only one just talking about it and making it funny.
Oh,
So,
I know. Yeah, full on. I have purses that are $20 that I glued product triangles to show everyone how ridiculous a nylon bag is. By the way, I have all the expensive shit. I sold 50 Hermes bags in the last year. I will not tell you what they're worth because I have no followers and I could buy a house. But I kept special pieces. It's all fronting and stunting. It's all a flex. It's all an insecurity. I literally am wearing Peter Rabbit pajamas under my Hello Kitty sweater that was 20. Where did this come from? This
thank you
came
for
from,
dressing up for me.
it was $5. Oh, I just fucked my microphone. Here it
Oh,
is.
it's from
Okay.
Marshall's.
It was from Marshall. It was $5. I've saved it since last year to wear it. It's ill fitting, but I just thought, why not do this today? So, yeah, but it's also an age thing. You're younger, but I think it's a great example for younger people. Like, I don't want these girls wasting all their money on stupid shit, and
Yeah.
being
Having
so
the I wants.
insecure, and the flex, and just the camera focusing on the bag sitting in the middle of the thing. And yes, they're probably fake. And who cares? Do what you want to do. Wear fake, wear real, buy it. It could be an investment. Nobody's paying my rent. Hermes I sold out Hermes lip oil. I don't see them sending me over any lip products. I don't, Chanel's not doing anything for me. 250 million views trolling them. and it keeps going. It doesn't, they're not paying my rent. I don't care what Hermes, Chanel, anybody thinks of me. I could buy my own shit. I don't borrow. It's so stupid, the big flex and insecurity.
Did
So
you
that was a,
were you purging things because you were kind of like you had sort of a transformative year, I would say. I don't know if that
I don't,
resonates.
I think I've been bored and you can fill a hole, a void with stuff and it's just something to do. And also, truthfully, not Hermes, but like this accidental influencer era
Hmm.
has made me has reduced my the importance placed on stuff. When
Ooh, why?
Cadillacs, when because Cadillacs and Broncos are like dropped off on your driveway. So like, what do I don't need, like I could get anything I want anytime I want. I don't have to keep anything. I give everything away. I give gifts every day, all day to people, to everybody. Like I'm constantly giving shit away. I don't want anything. I have very little makeup in my own drawer.
Hmm.
I do have a lot of I do have many bags because that is always, and I have a lot of jewelry. That's really those are, and watches. Those are the categories. But other than that, I don't really shop for clothes that much. I don't really shop for shoes that much. I don't really care about all this stuff that much.
What's with the accidental influencer? Because I know you said you didn't mean to be in a room or meet somebody, but you are very thoughtful and strategic. Like I have a hard time believing that you didn't sit down and think, I'm gonna go into beauty influencing or I'm gonna like
Not
kind
it.
of rebrand.
You're gonna have the hardest time you want. I didn't even know there was a room in beauty. I didn't know that there was a
Really?
world of YouTube and tutorials. I wanted to learn how to do my own makeup as an aside. Two things were going on at the same time. I always sucked at social media. I don't understand, like, look at me in the bathing suit. I was early to do it because I was told to do it, late to understand it because it cringed me to see, like, look how good I look. Let me take a picture of myself. Let me take a selfie. That
Yeah.
was such a crazy concept when I first heard it. Let me tell people where I'm having lunch. So I remember with Twitter being like, what? It just, and then I even remember on Instagram, like you just posted, but I wasn't good at it. I'd look at other people's. It was so like filtered and perfect and edited
Hmm.
and like looked good. And I just didn't know how to do it. So I just did it, but I like didn't have probably the followers I should have and the views because it just wasn't inspired. I just didn't understand it. And I wanted to hire different people and talk to different people. And like no one could do it for me and write captions for me. No one can write for me. And so like I just always was frustrated by not being able to do it.
Hmm.
And then I had left reality TV. I was doing this podcast, but like I had left HSN, had left a bunch of things, was sort of like kind of like wanting to move towards retirement. I was in a relationship and I had no worries financially for the most part. I just didn't want to like be on this roller coaster anymore. And so and it was the pandemic, but later in it that I had a delay because I am a homebody. I don't like to go out. So I sort of just still now I feel like I'm in the pandemic. It's just like I've been very social lately because I've really tried. Same with social media. Like I've tried to be social.
Hmm.
So I sat down and I never know how to do things myself. Gary Vee had told me before Charlie D'Amelio and the other one, the other big one.
Addison Ray. Yeah.
Right. He said to me, you should be on TikTok and this is where things are happening. And the social girl that worked for me in Brooklyn, I said to her, I want to do this. And how do I get in this? And I thought, like, could other people post for me? I didn't understand the model. So
Hmm.
I thought, like, is it like Instagram or something where other people could take a video and they post it, which technically they could, but it's like going to be uninspired. You have to like do it yourself. And I'm not good at tech or anything. I don't even know how to download apps or anything or like anything.
Wow.
So I, so I, the social person said to me, it's for 8 to 11 year olds. It's trends. It's not for you. Had I only gotten in then, can you imagine? Like, and my daughter was doing the dances, but I thought it's all dancing and like I don't copy people, so I don't understand trends. And I was so stupid that I didn't even, I'm so intimidated to even turn it on or looking at how to put it on my phone and look at it. It's like
Hmm.
I have an aversion to things like that. I won't even look at it. So years later, I had people trying to post for me different things and it was doing fine. It's fine. I think I didn't have many followers. And then I don't know why I just like turned it on and like figured out how to just like record and like just post it. It was bad lighting. There was a light on ahead of me. There was this much room. I thought I discovered America by just like going in my drawer. And I don't know why I talked about like CoverGirl versus other things. It was sort of just like
Hmm.
fucking around because the other goal that I had was to learn how to do my own makeup.
Mm.
So I started watching these videos just to learn how to do my makeup. And I was like, wait, all these people are talking about, I didn't understand algorithms. So I didn't know that
Right.
I was seeing all these videos because I had like watched two videos. So like I only saw the glow, the snatch, like everything. And I thought this is all people are talking about. I didn't understand like there's a world of like tuna fish somewhere else, but I was like
Right.
in this world and I thought it was all real. I didn't know anybody had, I didn't know there were filters on the phone. I didn't know people had filters. I didn't know they knew how to edit. I didn't know that like the snatch looked real, not because the product was magic,
Hmm.
but because of the thing. I thought like all my products from years ago are shit and technology's so crazy. Like people are snatched and look like this, but I didn't realize that they were lying, lying. So I bought everything. I bought like $50,000 worth of stuff in a year. I just like bought everything everybody said to me was whatever. And I would talk about it
Oh my God.
and it just exploded. I exploded early. Like
Yeah.
I think exploded early because people were like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, why is she doing that? It was like weird. So
The
I
50
don't know.
grand was a good investment. I was reading that your first year, I think you made like 3.2 million just from the ad deals.
Um, I don't remember. It's I guess that was 2.5 years ago, and that was a lot, many millions ago, because I make a lot of money doing a lot of different things. But the 50 grand was over the course of the year. Yeah, I don't. It completely was accidental. I didn't even know this was a space. I didn't even know people were doing the reviews or any of this shit. I didn't know any of it. And there's a whole way in which I do things that is a whole absolutely new model that no one else is doing. I know this because I know that agencies are calling me to try to mine me for information. So
Right.
I don't gatekeep products, but I gatekeep what's going on behind the scenes over here because it's some crazy shit. And one day it'll be a big book, but it's nuts.
You seem to have a knack for understanding the matrix. Once you get in, you figure out all the inefficiencies.
I unintentionally understand where to go, but I don't know what it's called. Like I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what licensing or equity was when I was doing my
Hmm.
deal. So someone had to explain, but then I was like, I want to do that. I didn't know what intellectual property was until the day someone came to offer me money for my brand. I asked my friend what to do, and he said, well, who owns the IP? I said, what is
Hmm.
that? So I didn't understand that there was a makeup room. I didn't understand there was an algorithm. I didn't understand there was a whole world of brand businesses and that this is the future. I didn't understand that TV was the dinosaur. And I listened to all these people that are trying to clamor to get on like Bravo and E, and I'm laughing because they're going into bedrock with a
Yeah.
car that has no engine or bottom and they're using their feet, but they don't get it.
It's like trying
So
to get into retailers. It's like just get on TikTok shop.
what do you, it's insane. And
Yeah.
so I realize that a lot of people are in the Poseidon Adventure, the boat, when it's upside down and
Hmm.
they're trying to go to the top of the boat. They don't realize the boat's upside down. They got to go to the bottom.
Yeah.
And so people that are really smart, like Gary Vee, they're doing very well because they know what the future is and they're doing all this research. And I don't do all this research. I just know after talking to them and listening to them that I accidentally have been walking in the direction of what they're doing, but I'm calling it something different because I didn't
Hmm.
know. I don't plan like that. I don't say, oh, AI, let's get into AI. Like that's a concept until I feel it in my cells. I don't even understand how that's going to affect me. So that was the same thing with social media. Like I was like, what do I want to be part of it, but I have to
Hmm.
feel it. You can't just like decide to be an entrepreneur, decide to be good at something like that. Like it doesn't work like that. And that's the same thing with reality TV. It's what they're doing wrong. You can't just decide you're going to be like a good reality TV person. It's like be real. Who are you actually?
Just be
And
you.
but you may not know who you are, and that's why it's very hard. You get in your head, you see cameras, and you want to be who you think people want you to be or who you think they're going to like. You don't know who you really are.
I think that was the entire J-Lo movie documentary stuff that happened online is like kids have gotten really smart and we were all watching this unhealed person. And all of a sudden,
Well, I did a TikTok on that. That became a big Instagram and got millions of views. At the same time, I said to myself, when Blake Lively and Jennifer Lopez are getting canceled, and I'm walking in Paris Fashion Week, we've hit the upside down. So what I said was, and what is true is,
it's so funny.
and I know they saw the videos, and I know their teams, and I know, basically
You really don't give up. I love it. You're
zero.
zero.
Well, no, I mean, at that very week, one of those people's teams like blew me off at an event that I went to, like because I'm
Yeah,
not
but who
as
cares?
yeah, I just don't. Well, I
Yeah.
certainly yeah, because they're much bigger than I am, obviously. So So what happened? Well, but there's never any sort of like, nothing's personal.
Yeah.
Like I've sat down and talked about, like, when I talk about products, products aren't people. Like people aren't products. Like you could have a great product and people don't like you. Like it's the product's the product. If the eyeshadow's good, I'm going to say it's good. If the skim socks are good, I'm saying they're good because they are
Yeah.
good. Like they're great. So, and so is her eyeshadow, even though I don't think it did very well because of the price. And it was like, so I said that week that what happened with Blake Lively and Jennifer Lopez was they have these teams that are from another generation of celebrity.
Yeah.
It's called crafted, sculpted, glossed. Here are the talking points. Tell the interviewer, don't ask anything different. Go down, do what you're told. Full glam, full makeup, full beat, full outfit. And like, this is what you're doing. You are a star. And they were the second iteration. The first iteration was Hollywood starlets born from a studio. They
Yep.
each were owned by a studio and they were studio property and they went out as dolls, like they were pushed out from MGM, etc. So this was like the next version of that. And this has worked for a really long time. And someone like Blake Lively, whose entire brand is perfection and blondness and like the outfit and, just adored. And J-Lo, who's like gorgeous and snatched to perfection and everything is like taken 3 hours to do, but it's like it lands every time. Like this is what works. They are juggernaut celebrities and it works. So you stick Blake Lively on a carpet because of people like me. Her team has said, we've got to deal with you for your drink, and we've got to deal with you for your hair, and we've
Hmm.
got 50 pounds of shit. We have a 5-pound bag. We're going to stuff it all in. You're walking down that carpet. Doesn't matter if we're talking about domestic violence. You're going to fucking say all the points that all the partners that we've poured you out to do want you to say in this one experience because you don't go out that much and you've got kids, you live in the suburbs and you got your makeup on, you got your major outfit on. So what the fuck are you going to talk about? You're going to go out there and you're going to do it all because you owe everybody now. And then you go out and you do that. But the people, it's not are smart. The citizens journalists, the people, the girls, the girls who have no money, they're all watching like, wait, what? This is it
Yeah.
because you can't control it anymore because it's social media. It can't just be in a box where you're only seeing it on television. So now it's like out there and they're like, wait, what? Alcohol at a domestic violence thing? Wait, you're talking about your hair product and flowers for spring. We're talking about an abusive relationship. So that didn't land. And
But I
that's
have a
because that's,
question about that because I understand, like when I saw J Lo
we're
promote
going to,
a, well, I
well, we'll
won't
get to
conflate
her.
them.
Yeah.
But when I saw her promote her new album and say like, if you buy it, you can, I'll send you like my new poster. I was like, is this 1996? Like, who is marketing here? And I think
Well,
that same
that's
thing
fair.
happened with Blake Lively. But what I didn't understand about that situation is Ryan Reynolds, I think, I don't want to misquote the number, but like his marketing agency is worth 14 billion or something, or it's worth
Wow.
so much money. And so how does he, like, aren't they having pillow talk? Doesn't he know
But
better?
take it to the next level. Did it really matter? I don't know. I know that their cocktail brands aren't doing well. We're talking about Jennifer Lopez and Blake Lively, but like they're very successful. I'm sure they've made. I don't know what the hair did. A lot. Sometimes people. I mean, there was a foundation on TikTok that was so bad that someone hated so much that people hate bought it. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? I actually tasted Harry Hamlin's tomato sauce, was shocked and actually upset visibly because I was expecting to make pasta and like talk about it and have a little dinner.
Yeah.
And it was not edible. And I think that people will hate buy it to be out of curiosity. End up making them money and they'll reformulate because there's no discussion as to whether it was good or not. I had 10 people taste it. It's like it should not, it's just like the game moved too fast. But
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know what the sales were because sometimes bad is good, the upside
Right.
down. So with Jennifer, what I think happened with her was similar but different distribution products is that she decided to launch all this stuff at once that nobody asked for at the same time. So it was a documentary about her love life or her relationship, like her relationship to love, right? And then she doubled down and decided to make a documentary on the making of that when that hadn't been successful. So how would you make a documentary on the thing about the thing you don't know if that's been successful? So you made a failed documentary about a failed original product. But again, people probably hate watch it, so she probably made the money back.
Right.
But it wasn't good for her personal image, and certainly I'm sure it wasn't good for her ego. And also at the same time announcing a tour, an album, a relationship, a relationship documentary and a documentary about the relationship documentary, whilst never really revealing anything about yourself. Like it was like blue balls. Like we got so close. I was like, oh, is she about? Oh, wait, okay. Like I was like, is she about to talk about like, because her not being in makeup, I thought was very big for her. And
Yes.
her being vulnerable about people not being invited, I thought was very big for her. And I thought, wait, she's getting close, but it was just the tip.
Yeah.
And to see how it felt good, but that we needed that.
Yeah.
And people and that's the point though. It's terrifying if you've lived a life of being manufactured to then be real, and it doesn't always land. I don't think people want to see Kim Kardashian without makeup. I really don't for 1 second. Like you're trapped in the corner of perfection. And then you've got to
Yeah.
worry about aging. And then you're going to have to like crazy glue yourself together, like the movie and now play Death Becomes Her, where you've got to keep the perfection up. But like it doesn't work. I guess, I mean, I saw Jane Fonda. She looks great, but like how you look can't be your whole life. It doesn't work anymore. It really doesn't. So I think that they were an example about 2024, but I don't know that it's hurt them financially because it might have all sold. I don't know that data, but it was awkward.
I don't know if money is their barometer anymore. To me, it feels like it's ego.
Yeah, it's not when you've been so beloved for anything you do.
Yeah.
But that's the people's fault for like idolizing and making people into perfection and then getting mad and then wanting to take them down. I
Yeah.
mean,
There's a
I
cycle
think
of that.
Jennifer Lopez took a beat down for being who she's always been, like perfect. I mean, I think like yeah, she's been unlucky in love. That's been who she's always been. Like now people are going to be mad at her about that. Like she's a diva. Like she's fucking Jennifer Lopez. And then people are acting like she has no talent. Like maybe she doesn't sing her songs. Who cares? She's very talented. Like I've seen her show. She dances like really great. She gives it. She gives
I always felt like it was courageous that she would get out of bad relationships. Um,
because it shows like we failed again. I mean, that's my life.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, is it even failure? Like it's kind of just like this is life. And I think yeah, when people I could make fun of a lot of other things that she does, but I think when we're talking about following your heart or your instincts, I
She's looking for
respect it.
love, and I
Yeah.
understand why she did all her relationships. Her Mark Anthony is my ex-husband. I fully understand why she would be
Yeah.
with A-Rod. I went out with A-Rod. Like I get it. There's and then they had it looked so good together.
Right.
And their backgrounds being similar and the two kids like that. And sometimes you
Yeah.
live in
They
the
wanted
light
to
of
be
what
like
it
the
looks
Latin
like.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah, and sometimes it looks great to the outside, and you end up living. That could take you a while. Many couples stay for
Totally.
20 years just based on all their friends and the lifestyle, not the life. You could get a lot out. People, that's an example probably of people trying to create a life out of a lifestyle. And I fully understand her being with Ben the first time and the last time. Like that's like your high school relationship, and like then wanting to chase the dragon. I mean, it all makes sense. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
60% of relationships end up in divorce.
I love when you talk about relationships on TikTok. I know everybody comes for the makeup and the hilarity and the chicken salad. I come for the advice for the 20 and 30-year-olds. You talk a lot about the relationship or the money dynamics in relationships. I've heard you say whoever has the gold rules.
He who
Uh,
makes the gold, she or he who makes the gold makes the rules. Facts.
makes the rules. Okay, I have one that my girlfriend taught me, and it's if you marry for money, you pay for it the rest of your life.
I said that.
You said it too?
Yeah, I said that. I
It's a
literally said it
great
on TikTok.
phrase. I've
Yeah,
been
of
living
course.
by that for years. I'm wondering why you discuss this topic in particular. Is it something that you felt or dealt with in your 20s and 30s? Like why is it on your heart?
I know you're talking about the money aspect or the whole thing, the whole
The
thing.
the money aspect.
Oh, yeah, I've many reasons for that. Number one, I know a lot about dating and relationships. I am very good at it. And I
Mhm.
have talked to and worked with different matchmakers, and I am markedly they don't really bring anything to the table that people can't do themselves. Like honestly,
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like the people can't do themselves, having to do the work with setups and apps and things like that. But I have always had very good game because I don't place a tremendous emphasis on looks. I'm not vain. I think that's everyone's going the wrong direction of putting the primary focus on looks. They matter, and it's important that you take care of yourself, but they're not the primary focus once you like lock someone in. And I may not have been great at either choosing or staying or sustaining, but I've always been very good at being able to quote unquote get the guy, or I've even people who
Yeah.
hate me will say that I've had good games. So I know about the topic a lot, and I know about the dynamic, and also um and I've been in many relationships, like, and
Mm-hmm.
all different types and shapes and sizes. And so I talk about the money in a relationship because yes, if you marry for money, you pay the rest of your life. That doesn't mean money isn't a massive character in a relationship. And it really, really is, because if you are the breadwinner, it will come out eventually, and the other person will feel inferior or powerless or emasculated some way. If you, as the woman, we can pretend we're all feminists and it's 2024. It doesn't matter. Men define themselves by what they do for a living and providing, and that is just the dynamic. I've seen it too many times. There are exceptions, but it always seeps out in another way. The power struggle comes out in another way. They're justifying that they're home with the kids, that they're the manny. It comes out in some power struggle, and it can be like almost abusive because
Mm-hmm.
people feel resentful, and then the woman is always then overcompensating, trying to make them feel better and give them a cookie and do this dynamic where we both put money in the bank account. So then we have a credit card. So then he can pull out the bill, pull out the credit card and pay the bill, even though it's my money. It always comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or the guy becomes a big player, or he's sleeping with younger women, or he's out buying Ferraris, or it's comes out. Okay. And even if the woman comes from family money, then there's a dynamic too. So it doesn't have to be, if it's 50 shades of rich and both people are rich. I've had a situation where I've been with people where they have more money and I make more money. And that can be very challenging for men, because
That's
in the day
interesting.
to day, they're with a girl who has less than them, and they're feeling like the man, good about themselves, provider, pound on chest. Then they're with me. And no matter what, because men think about their own careers and being providers and define themselves by what they're doing, they start to get in their own head about how busy they are. And it becomes this silent competition. It's not intentional. It's a mirror. If you're next to your friend and she's thriving and surviving, let's say she's dating amazing guys. Let's say you think you're smarter and better looking. You're going to think about what she's doing and why it's working for her. So men are going to think that. And that happens to me more than you. That's happened to me a lot. So, and someone gets a chip on their shoulder. Well, I'm not a billionaire. Like, they start saying that. Then you have a way that you live. People say that they don't want to go to hotels because they don't want to live. They want to live. They don't want to be away and have it be less nice than at home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going away with someone, and they don't have the money you have, and they don't roll the way you do, and you don't want to emasculate them by paying and make them feel bad about themselves, and you don't want to be weird about like how you. So now you're going to stay in the shittiest room where you don't normally stay because you're trying to make them feel better and don't want them to feel insecure about it. Or you're going to go secretly buy stuff for yourself because you don't want it just comes out. It comes out the way you're eating. I've been out and been worried about like what I'm ordering and what they're thinking of it. I was at CVS with a guy, and we were checking out, and it was like $100 something. And I was having a panic attack, like wanting him to just not stand there so I could just quickly pay. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
anxiety producing. It's not like being a gold digger. It's kind of just dynamics of like how you live day to day life at a certain age.
Yeah.
And, but I'm seeing a wave now of girls at not a wave, women really have their hands out and are entitled. They think because they have some eyelashes and some extensions that they're bringing something to the table. Every
Mm-hmm.
girl has eyelashes and extensions, except for me. But that they have eyelashes and extensions, and that like this is gonna get it done. This
Mm-hmm.
gets you a drink, like that the guy's gonna want to like support your lifestyle and get you dental work and tits for the rest of your life. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, it's not it anymore. And men are so hip to the jive. They now know about all the gold digging is going on everywhere, and they're very heightened and they're very paranoid. And it's also why I do so well in dating. Because one of the things is I could get the richest guy in
Oh,
the
you
world.
don't
He's
need
going to
anything.
know. He knows. That's a big marketing aspect. She doesn't need your money.
Interesting.
They'll come running and throw presents at you because they know you don't need.
Okay, I'm getting the wrap, but I have one last question for you. Paris Fashion Week. This year, you were asked to walk the runway for L'Oreal Paris, and you came back. And I saw in real time your post. You were tearful on social media, and uh, I haven't often seen you like that. And at the end, you said, "Maybe I am worthy." I was sort of surprised by that. I'm wondering what made you feel like that was the moment that maybe you were finally worthy. I do think worth is everybody's journey in life, but I
I
guess I misinterpreted because you have so much strength. I never really thought about that for you.
I always think about Kathy Griffin's Life on the D List show because I just sort of always am there. There's always me not getting into Chanel or I'm always spilling something and it's
Mm-hmm.
funny and it's self-deprecating, but there's always some vibe about that I feel in some ways. I don't really care and nobody really has anything I want and we're all like it's all gravy. But because of the people because of the situation where I did go to that Blake Lively premiere and somebody on the inner circle that I know treated me differently right there than they have weeks before when I'm like the funny one on TikTok. They treated me a
Right.
little better then. And because of J Lo treating me a certain way in certain situations, it's why thinking of 2024 and the universe meeting me where I'm at in just being like, let's just fucking be honest. Okay. So there are moments like that. And it's not like, there are moments like that that make you think. And then when you're asked to come to L'Oreal Paris Fashion Week. So what I thought it was I was going to be doing some show like that you see like on the West Side Highway, like in somewhere. I don't pay attention. I only sweat the small stuff. So I didn't know what we were doing. I knew we were going to Paris. I knew L'Oreal was sending me and one person. I paid to bring like 4 additional people. I wanted my daughter to come. It became an experience for all of us. It became Danielle, who works with me, trying caviar for the first time. Jason trying truffles. Like it became a Little Miss Sunshine. We're all in the van, and I'm that girl. Who's the girl? The main girl, like Olive, who wasn't really supposed to be in that pageant. And that's a worth it thing. Like she wasn't really, I mean, let's be honest, but she wasn't supposed to be in that pageant. And neither was that friggin' van with the door coming off. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's an amazing movie, but it's about a girl who's going and for some reason they let her in this pageant and she doesn't look like the rest of them with the blonde curly hair and the outfit. She looks like and I'm in pajamas half the time. And so like I'm not a, like some days I'll look good. I'll be like, I look like a supermodel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got game. I'm good. I'll take any model down with dating guys. I don't mind that. But like, I'm not a supermodel. So they ask us, and I'm like, fuck it. We're bringing everybody. I'm spending whatever I spent, 25,000 to bring everybody, fly them. We did the whole thing and take them and do it all. And so we got there, and I was like, what the fuck? And then the woman who was like, escorting me and like so nice to me. I didn't realize she's the HBIC for a global brand that's $45 billion. So I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
thinking about the modeling. I'm a business bitch. So I was there. I was like, what the fuck? I'm talking about the main bitch, which is
Oh,
Delphine. Global
global.
L'Oreal, $45 billion. Yeah. I'm talking about the HBIC of all the HBICs running
Wow.
that the number one beauty brand in the world, who I didn't know who she was. And I was just joking with her and laughing with her. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much for what you did for the midnight cream. And I don't know who I'm talking to. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I could have brushed my teeth and put makeup on. And she's like, oh my God, in French accent, we love what you did. And I'm talking to her for 3 days. I don't realize who she is. And the other girls are dying because I'm talking to Anna Wintour effectively because that's a powerful bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm finding out how much skincare I moved, like, because skincare is their biggest thing at L'Oreal. And then I'm like, what's the biggest product this year? And they're like L'Oreal Midnight Cream, which I found in the back of a shelf, like a dead product that I just tried and just honestly reviewed in pajamas from literally a Japanime sweatshirt from TJ. So I'm like getting all this stuff from these different people talking to them, like, what? So now I'm in Paris and I'm seeing like what had to cost $25 million, like millions of dollars they spent on the show, like streets closed off in Paris landmarks, the l'Opéra. Like, what do you mean I'm walking in this? And I'm seeing like big signs like Eva Longoria and these ambassadors for years, and I'm getting like the groundswell. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get there and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What are you talking about? Like, everybody was Madonna. It happened to me years ago at a party, but this is like different because I'm in this. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? Like, just next to you, like Kylie Jenner's just hugging this one, and it's Eva Longoria, and it's Annie McDowell, and it's Heidi Klum, and it's everybody is an international supermodel. Hundreds of people, and we're just lining up, and like Cara Delevingne is like, you go, girl. I mean, and Jane Fonda, and I'm just like, Eva Longoria is like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with you. You made me drink coffee differently. And I'm like, what's going on? And we're there for 2 days, and my girl who works with me, Emily Kane, who was doing social, she's exasperated. She's on the floor, she's hyperventilating. She's like, what's going on? Oh my God. And it kept happening, but it was like normal. It became normal. And we were all like, what the fuck is going on? We thought it was so big. And then there were other people that were acting like this happens all the time because they are so insecure that they have to like be jaded. Where I was like in the moment at every part of it. Same way I was on the first day of The Apprentice when everybody on The Apprentice was like, oh my God, they're going to make so much money on us. And I was like, these people were begging like beggars to get this job. But the day that they're there, they act like they belong too much. So I never thought I belonged because it was insane. I couldn't believe it. So the HBIC stood on stage and she told us, you walk how you want, do what you want. I didn't think about I liked the shoes. I never practiced them. They were giant giraffe shoes. I didn't think the thing through. I didn't even care. It was just so fun. She said, do what you want to do, be what you want to be. Wow. So I just went out there and it was insane. People screaming in the street, thousands of people screaming. Like, how could you not cry? How could you not be like, I am worried? What the fuck? It was insane. I was out of my league, out of my element. It was nuts.
Did it shift anything for you moving forward? Like, did you take that energy with you? Because to me, that woman that came up to you in the restaurant and said, you are so loved, it is that same feeling.
No, because I had to, of course, get beaten down about the way that I walked when the HBIC told me how to walk. So I always have to come back and like be Chanel. It's always Chanel. It's always going to be Chanel. So it was, yeah, you did it. You walked, you looked amazing in the dress. You did what the fucking HBIC running the $45 billion company told you to do. But they're like, oh, why did you walk that way? Because people are fucking asshole. But it was like, then what did I have to do? Do what I did at Chanel. Turn it into 250 million views. Get more press than any of the big people that were there. Literally more than any of them. Not on purpose. Because I'm just defending myself and being like, I did what the HBIC told me to do and I liked it. And I looked good. But, so then that was every press article. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so then it's circular reference. That's why they had me be there. Because I wasn't perfect, So yeah, no, it's always going to be, if I had like next year for that thing, I won't be a psychopath that's like weeping in the back of a taxi. I will know a little what I'm walking into, but there'll be another thing that's insane.
Have you seen Gladiator?
The movie? Yeah, of course.
You know when they say win the crowd, win the emperor?
Yeah.
That's your life.
That is exactly why when Lisa Rinna texted me upset about the Harry, and I'm not like, I don't hang out with her. I know her about the Harry sauce. And she's like, it wasn't kind. I'm like, it was honest. It wasn't unkind. I was truly pained. But what am I going to do now? I'm going to only be, I'm kissing the celebrity's ass. And you send me sauce. I'm supposed to only, the unspoken contract. Did you send me sauce? I'm supposed to only say positive things about it. This is the deal. No. What are you talking? Like, then I'm going to diss the small brand. She has no money and she's bootstrapping it and sent me product. I'm going to say hers sucks when it sucks, but I'm going to say yours because you're famous. And you're like, what? No, you send it over here. It's getting reviewed. Period. Also, these are the people
I'd never
who have
heard
no
of
money.
The sauce before you posted. So it's maybe a thank you.
100%. So thank you. Yeah. No one knows about the sauce. And now everybody knows about the sauce because she'll have to reformulate.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh my God.
You're so much fun. And I didn't get to say this during the interview, but I think Be Strong is your legacy. I'm so impressed by what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.